Hi everybody, it's A7X Fan Ben here. You may have seen my recent video on how to use miniature trading, but I wanted to make a separate video on how to use the search functions at miniature trading. So I come to the forum here, and then it's pretty easy to miss, to be honest, but in the top right you'll see a blue search button. So if I click on that, it allows me to search things on the forum. So let's say I wanted to find an answer by Wolf on a specific unique treasure called Holy Water. This is something I had to do recently, and it was actually part of another video for the description. So I searched Holy Water, but then the criteria you select is really important, because if I just search this by itself, it's going to find a ton of matches. So I get over 350 matches for that. So now I'm going to search for all terms. So then I search for just this phrase, basically. And then I'm going to type in the author name, which is Wolf in this case. So you put the username of the person who you want to find, if that's applicable in your case. Depends on what you're searching, obviously. And then I usually like to display results as posts. You can select like the forum or the category, like Pirate CSG or whatever. I usually don't, because what I'm searching is usually specific to that game anyway. And then what's really nice here is you can find the first X number of characters from the post. So I usually keep it at 200. Sometimes I increase it like by a lot to see more of the post. So let's do 500 just to see what that looks like. And then you can do ascending or descending, and then there's some other options I don't use as much. So I'm basically finding specific posts by Wolf with the phrase holy water, both words combined. Any post by Wolf that includes that. And then I search and I find 7 matches. So now it's a lot easier to sift through the results and to find what I want. And then in this case, if you click on the topic, it'll just bring you to the first page, but then what you want to do is look at subject, and then it'll just say the topic name again, but then you'll notice beneath your cursor in the bottom left, the preview actually shows the post number. So you want to click on that. I usually right click to keep the search up and open in a new tab, and then it brings me here, and this is exactly the post I wanted to find. And then you can see the search is highlighted in orange, and it's highlighted in the URL as well. So now I find this nice post by Wolf about how Holy Water and Davy Jones, how those two UTs work. So that's how I found that. So that's how to use the minitrating, the search function for the forum. And then I'm going to go back and show you something else too, though. So like, for example, a lot of people, a lot of newbies have questions about collecting and things like that, or how rare things were, or what things went for on eBay. And I think the search function is, I think it's pretty underrated. So let's go search Raptor Maw. Let's make it by any poster, and then let's search by post. I'm just going to do a little experimenting here, so I'm going to search that and see what comes up. 299 matches. So that's a lot. So let's say I want to narrow it down. I'm going to make it a topic instead of a post, so this doesn't really matter anymore. And then maybe I want to sort by ascending. So I want to go, like, let's say I want to learn about when the Raptor Maw showed up on the market, or like what happened, like what's the origin stories of the Raptor Maw, which is a sea dragon from Fire and Steel. So I search Raptor Maw, search for all terms, display as topics, because I want like more of a broad search this time. But then I'm going to sort ascending, so it'll show me the oldest results first. And then here we immediately see stuff from 2008. Received my Fire and Steel prize support, so I can click on that. Let's see what this topic is. This is from almost 10 years ago. And then I'm going to do CTRLF, Raptor Maw, and then you can see some people talking about it. And then here we can see some other stuff, and then you see Fire and Steel leaks, spoilers, previews, blah, 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 try to get the missing cards, Raptor Maw for trade, stuff like that. So you can kind of see what the origin stories of some of the rare cards were like and things like that. This is a really useful function of the forum, using the search function. There's other things you can do with it too, but I just recommend playing around, and maybe sometimes instead of asking something, sometimes you can use a search function to find a ton of information, because the forum is pretty old, and the game has been out of print for about 10 years almost, so you can find a ton of great stuff in the archives of the forum. And then next I'm going to go to the search for a miniature function, which is a really nice one. This is probably this is pretty much the one I use the most. So I go to Pirate CSG as the game, and then most of you have probably done this, but it's pretty great. So let's say I'm making a fleet. Maybe let's say it's from Ocean's Edge specifically, and let's say I only have let's say it's from any set. Let's say I'm using the Cursed as a faction, and let's say I have 13 points left to spend, and I want like some kind of Cursed Gold Runner that costs 11 points, and then I can put a Helmsman of War. So I'm going to search for Cursed ships that cost exactly 11 points, and let's say I want them to have a base move of at least S+S, in this case for a Gold Runner, and let's see what comes up. So 5 miniatures were found, and then I like to go to extended formats, then I don't have to actually click on anything. Change the base move, hang on. So let's search again, then extended format brings it up here so you don't have to click on each one individually. So then I see these ships here, and I say, oh, I don't really like these that much, except for maybe the Fiddler's Green, she has 4 cargo, so maybe that ship is good enough. So then I add that ship to my fleet or whatever. So you can use this is like built into the fleet making system, so you can search for miniatures while you're making fleets as well. And then you can search for pretty much anything too. So you can search for like a specific island or terrain. You can switch to events or forts or any kind of game piece. Just remember to reset this because there's no like cursed islands, so you'll have to reset the other values if you're looking for things like that. So that's something I find really useful. Sometimes if I'm starting a game and like on Vassal for example, and I don't know what UTs to use because it's hard to like memorize UTs compared to other stuff, at least for me. So I'll just search generic unique treasures just in general, and then I'll find a ton. So it'll sort by name first, so the alphabetical order. I like to sort, so I'm going to go back to the list format, and then I like to sometimes sort by set actually. Then I can see like set specific UTs, because there's certain sets I like more than others, especially for unique treasures. So then I can search by set here. And then now I'm going to go to the fleet section. You can either click up here, this is the generic like pirates tab, where you can click on stuff, or you can just go in main menu, community, armies, in which case the pirates section is like the fleet section. And then for example, I know the past member Lord Stew, he has a lot of cool fleets. So I'm going to type in author Lord Stew, and then I'm going to say, I'm just going to search in general right now. And then I find a ton of fleets by him. So now I can find his Big 8 fleets, Big 8 American ships, Big 8 American crew. And if you haven't seen these, Lord Stew made some really cool, they're not really fleets for games, but they're like a generic, it's a really good reference to see like what are the best like 8 American named crew to own in the game. Or not just named, I guess, but mostly named crew. And then let's say I wanted to make a 60-point fleet, but I didn't want to look one up. So I'm going to go to 60 to 65. So in the case of if I want to include a 0 LR plus 5 limit ransom crew to add plus 5 points to the build total, I deleted the author so anybody can submit the fleets. So now I have 135 fleets to pick from if I'm playing, let's say I'm playing a game on Vassal or whatever. So now I have 135 fleets to look at. And then maybe I want it to include like a certain ship, for example. So there's almost like a miniature search function built into the fleet section, or the fleet search. And then I can find this. So there's one 60-point fleet with the Akua Lapu in it. And then I'm just doing this randomly, and now I can check out what this fleet looks like, and then maybe I can say, oh, I like this fleet, and I want to use the Akua Lapu at this build total, so maybe I'll use this fleet now. And then last but not least, we have the miniature review search function, which I don't use as much, but one thing this can be useful for is finding if like a miniature already has a review written about it. So let's say I want to review the Maui's Fishhook, and then I see, oh, the Maui's Fishhook already has a review, and it has a good score. Almost everybody gave it a 5. So maybe I'll review something else. You know what I mean? So then I'll search something else, and like this is a ship I might want to review soon actually, and I've already checked to see that this ship doesn't have a review. That's a Spanish ship that I might review sometime. So that one doesn't have a review. So maybe, and then you can go to the search function, the miniature search, and find the Raphael, and then on the miniature page, like I showed in the other video, you can click on write a review about this miniature. And then also you can find, like let's say I know that Bookworm has like a really good, he's a past member as well, but let's say he has a really great reputation for writing reviews. You can see all of his reviews have an average score of at least 4. Most of them are like above 4.5 with a lot of votes. And so I can see, so this is kind of how you can find who's best at writing miniature reviews, and once you know who it is, you can search their other reviews if you want to read more by them, regardless of like what the game piece actually is. So now I can see like the Rook's Folly review, which looks really good, and then you could vote on it, comment, things like that. So that's pretty much how to use the different search functions at miniature trading. I think kind of all of them are somewhat undervalued, I think, especially the forum search function and searching for like specific usernames in like the fleets and reviews sections, and also like specific point totals for fleets if you want to find certain fleets at various like build totals. So that's it for this video. So thanks for watching, and I'll have more soon.